Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Rama Rama Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Rama Rama Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Rama Rama Jaya Kunja Bihari. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namini Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharana Nirvishesha Srinyavadi Pashkati Desatarna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we read from 3rd Canto, chapter 27, text 11. Muktalingam sat abhasam asati pratipadyate satubandhum asat chakshu sarvanusyutam advayam. Translation. A liberated soul realizes the absolute personality of Godhead, who is transcendental and who is manifest as a reflection, even in the false ego. He is the support of material cause, and he enters into everything. He is absolute, one without a second, and he is the eyes of the illusory energy. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. A pure devotee can see the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in everything materially manifested. He is present there only as a reflection. But a pure devotee can realize that in the darkness of material illusion, the only light is the Supreme Lord, who is its support. It is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita that the background of the material manifestation is Lord Krishna. And as confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, Krishna is the cause of all causes. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the Supreme Lord, by his partially or plenary expansion, is present not only within this universe and each and every universe, but in every atom. Also, he is one without a second. The word advyayam, without a second, which is used in this verse, indicates that also the Supreme Personality of Godhead is represented in everything, including the atoms. He is not divided. His presence in everything is explained in the next verse. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Pracharanya Nirvishesha Srinyavadi Pashkati Desatana. A liberated soul realizes the absolute personality of Godhead, who is transcendental and who is manifest as a reflection even in the false ego. He is a support of the material cause, and he enters into everything. He is absolute, one without a second, and he is the eyes of the illusory energy. This sloka beautifully explains how not to be confused. Because confusion comes from seeing something separate from Krishna. As soon we see in the terms of duality, we get confused. We want good, and suddenly comes the bad. Because we don't understand the cause. Real knowledge means to understand things in their origin. And this is so beautifully explained here. Like, without understanding the shloka, we can understand that without Krishna you cannot get even puffed up. Not possible. Sometimes you think, this person is so arrogant, so puffed up, so stupid. I mean, unbelievable how stupid people can be. Prabhupada gives a beautiful example of stupidity. A man is standing on a wall, banging his head against the wall. Bang, bang, bang. People go, why are you doing this? So much pain, you are causing yourself so much pain. Well, because when I stopped, it feels so good. This is really an idiot. So there are so many things going around us which are so profoundly idiotic. And we get disturbed by that, of course. You know, the more you are intelligent, the more there is a reason to be disturbed, actually. Foolish people are not disturbed. When people go, love, peace, it's all fine, that's an idiot. Guarantee. Because when you look around, where's the love? Where's the peace? We are living in a very agitated place. Mrityuloka, everybody is dying. I was on a morning walk with Srila Prabhupada. He walked a path between the fields. There was lots of rain before. Some mouse got drowned, in the hole and was lying there on the road, dead mouse. And Prabhupada stopped. With his stick he pointed to the mouse, and we were all. And he said, Mrityuloka, planet of death. And then he kept on walking. So you can say it's not a very romantic walk, really. Why should we even talk about it? It's not very inspiring news that death is everywhere. It can occur any time. But this is the world we are living in. And Prabhupada said, before understanding the bad, you cannot understand the good. And that's the message for all these optimistic people. Prabhupada gave really amazing examples, very discouraging for living in this material world. And Prabhupada said, if you are not discouraged to live in this material world, you cannot develop a desire to go to the spiritual world. Now somebody may ask, then what's the use what we are doing here? What's the use? Isn't it like piling up matters and struggling with matter and struggling with money and earth, water, fire, ether? It all gives us trouble, isn't it? Yeah? There is so much earth we have to remove. There is so much fire we have to extinguish and control. There is so much water coming down on us, sometimes in frozen form, sometimes in liquid form. Constant struggle, karshati, constant struggle. So, Prabhupada said, before one understands really that, one cannot develop a sincere desire to become Krishna conscious. Unfortunately, very unfortunately, the conditioned souls have to suffer before they come to Krishna consciousness. Only very, very few people who are not so tormented come to Krishna consciousness by dint of intelligence. I know some people like that, some devotees like that. They came to Krishna consciousness from a rich background. They had a materially spoken quite comfortable circumstance. And still, they are looking for Krishna consciousness, which is a life based on tapo divyam. That means first austerity. First comes the austerity, then comes the knowledge. People would like to have knowledge without austerity. We see it all the time. No principles, no regulations. Let's remove that and get Krishna consciousness, the knowledge. It's love, isn't it? Now, you get an illusory form of Krishna consciousness, yes? Krishna can create a perfect illusion. He left behind when leaving this world Even a dead Krishna. For the atheists, they're going, now he is dead. Yeah. Krishna goes, well, you want to perceive me like this? Fine. That was a dead Krishna. For the Sahajas, Krishna appears as a paper Krishna. Looks like Krishna. And they go, I see him. Nah. It's an ethereal form. Because to realize Krishna is tapo divyam. There must be some austerity. And full awareness of the reality. Where do we come from? A reality of illusion, you could call it. You know? And all sincere devotees have one thing in common. They were always filled with doubt and mistrust towards the material things. You know, what is told to you in a media, what you are informed in a school, you know. I mean, what a waste of time even to watch it. If I would tell you what I learned in a school, amazing. You don't know it. You grow up in a maybe capitalistic Yugoslavia or whatever. Croatia is called now, you know. I grew up in a communistic Czechoslovakia. You know, right away as I entered the school, there was Russian banners everywhere, slogans with Soviet Union forever. I was informed when I am a good student, I will be rewarded with a free trip to Moscow to meet the masterpieces of humankind, the Russian pioneers. I came home and I told Prabhupada, the Russians must be really perfect people, you know, supremely intelligent and supremely powerful. His comment was, yeah, it all comes from the vodka, you know. I mean, obviously he was not a communist. I never became a communist. And actually I didn't care. But the aesthetic side of communism, I was initiated already, you know that? I got my first initiation in Prague when I was maybe 9 years old, 8 years old. I became a pioneer. I got a red piece of scarf like this, and a new shirt, blue pants. I was a pioneer. You know? And I went home. Didn't mean anything to me. Everybody was laughing. Nobody took it seriously. Nobody. It was just something you do. 1st of May, we marched in front of the political leaders on a main square of Prague. Big square, you know, really big square. It fits thousands of people. And there was a stage, and the communistic leaders were blessing the nation. And we got all a paper chamara, you know, this kind of chamara with paper, in the national colors. And we were all supposed to go like this and pray and chant the glories of the leadership. No, we didn't do that. In that mass of people, you could say whatever you want, nobody was hearing anyway what you were saying. So we were waving the chamara going, you idiot, you know, and whatever vulgar word somebody got, you know, just and waving the chamara. I remember it was a few years, yeah, every 1st of May I had to go. One year I remember they got somewhere too little of us, so we had to go around the block and go again. You know, complete hoax. At the end with chamaras, we threw them all into the Prague river. The whole river was floating with these chamaras. So, just lies, cheating. Every word they say was a lie. Everything what I learned in a school was good for nothing. And I had the extreme experience When I was 13 years, I entered a capitalistic school. My parents emigrated to West Germany, and I had to sit in West Germany in the school. They were teaching me that a good man is producing Mercedes cars and makes lots of Deutschmark, money. That's a good man, And the technical science was very popular, physics, chemistry. I hated all this. I couldn't relate to this. I was a kind of more sensual person. I was an artist. So I just was going, how does it smell? How does it look like? What is the form? What is the mood? But Germans don't have much mood. They just construct. When you hear German romantics, I just made a test now in this program in downtown Zagreb. I showed people how different languages sound. I speak different languages, so I was going so, jetzt werde ich zu euch Deutsch sprechen. Und ich werde euch überzeugen, dass ihr zurück zu Gott marschieren müsst und auch Gott hingeben müsst. It sounds like Adolf Hitler, isn't it? Yeah. This is German. It's a plain German. I'm preaching to you. This is about Krishna, One devotee even told me when I read German books, Prabhupada books, translations, it sounds like I read a manual to a washing machine, It's very constructive language. And it's devotional. But of course, when you are born in that country, you don't know that. You don't know how Croatian sounds. For you, it's like, bah. For somebody who doesn't speak the Croatian, Prabhupada was genius. He could just linguistically, on the sound people produce, immediately analyze their consciousness. Like he said, Prabhupada said, German is very good to speak to dogs. Why? Because it's so commanding. Sitz, was, German is very good for this. German is very good for commanding and describing something. Can you imagine in German you can put words together to define something? You don't say this is a microphone. You can say in German in one word, this is a temple room Hare Krishna microphone. German is they will describe perfectly everything. They made a competition to compose the longest German word. The winner was making one word over 1.5 A4 pages. One word. It doesn't stop. And you see, it makes sense. It's German. French, Prabhupada said, that's a language you can speak only to women. You get just lusty just by hearing this. It's completely sensual language. Perfect for sex life. Anyway, and then English, he said, is good to be spoken to horses. I don't know what he meant by that. I don't know. Spanish, he defined as the language of the demigods. Wow. Yes, I was amazed. Spanish, he said, far out. Don't know. Why is that? But Prabhupada was because how we express ourselves with the language. The sound is, the languages are formed around the particular conditioning and the nature of the people in a particular region they live. So, this is all not accidental. So pure devotee, he can see Krishna everywhere. Even in stupidity, even in pride, even in the way people express themselves. This is all not possible without Krishna giving the ability, the intelligence, the strength, the power. He created everything. Even the vocal cords here now vibrating, it's only possible because Krishna enabled me to do that. I didn't do that. I don't remember ever I created my body even. I just got it. It's amazing, isn't it? We just got these bodies and we come out of the womb completely ignorant. Everything is already arranged. Prabhupada said, the baby comes out, the food is coming. The mother immediately can feed the baby. It's amazing, isn't it? Even the way how you conceive babies, this is all mysterious. I mean, we know how to be lusty, we know that. But even that is facilitated by Krishna. You cannot get lusty even when there are men who want to have sex. No, it doesn't work. The ability is taken away. There are men who, even the attraction between male and female is completely amazing. I used to preach for 2 years, 3 years in the city of Berlin, at the peak of the punk, the punk. Punk is, we got actually quite many devotees coming. They were all punk people. First of all, they were already shaped with the Sika. Green Sika, yellow Sika, or they were like this Sika, that's punk. Second of all, they have one slogan, one mantra. No fun, no future. Completely, no fun, no future. Just smoke something, live something. There's no use actually. Completely destructive philosophy. They like that. And of course, according to that, all punks should commit suicide, isn't it? No, they don't. No. They like to be punk. Stinking, dirty, completely ugly. Ugliness is like beauty in punk movement. The more ugly you are the leading punk. You have a needle through the nose. They use the sink you flush toilet, that's used as an earring. Things like that. I mean, we had a whole Sunday feast full of this. We had one rule in Sunday feast. Come in, but don't take off the shoes. Why? The smell was intolerable. So keep your shoes on, okay? We had various rules for punk. Don't throw prasadam on the wall. Because they was going, it tastes good. And then we're going with a spoon, shooting prasadam on each other like this. Don't bring any rats. They always had in a pocket a rat, like pets, the rat was coming. No rats, don't take off your shoes. That was our preaching in Berlin. You cannot imagine, they were living in abandoned buildings. There were many abandoned buildings still in a city. So they just occupied, when they saw a building being empty, they moved in. Police came and there's no way. Very, militant, they threw anything on the policemen. Every Monday morning, usually happened over weekends, on every Monday morning there was this burnt out police car standing on various crossings. Just wrecks, because they just, lighten up the police car. So, this was Berlin. It's still until today like that. Right now, a whole part of Berlin is dark. It's very cold there. It can be very cold. It's inland. The whole part of Berlin is dark, no electricity, no heating, nothing works. Why? Because some anarchistic, punky people burn down the main the electrical, power station. Just like that. Just burn it down. Why not? Berlin is like this all the time. It never stops to be. Now it's united Berlin, East Berlin and West Berlin. East Berlin is becoming also like this because it's cheaper like West Berlin. So all the, young people and all, they move to East Berlin and turn it also into a mess. The old East Germans, they are shocked, because in communism there was no punk. No. No. There is some things we can say positive about communism. There was very little drug abuse. There was no punk. And there were some still old-fashioned family values, yes. Today, forget it. The only one who has some solid remaining family values are the Muslims. Yeah. You know, it's very strong in the Muslim communities. You have a family, you have to maintain your family. It's like your property, you know. Wife, it's your property. So protect your property. Sounds kind of like slavery. Yeah, it is, yeah. But it got a firm, clear, rules. Anyway, so all this, what we see manifested in front of our eyes, is Krishna in various forms. And like the Christian community has a big problem with that. They go, God is love. But where's the hatred coming from? Satan. Well, Satan seems to be stronger like God, isn't it? Because sometimes we just see only cruelty. How is that possible? Well, we have a demonstration in our books. We have Bhagavad Gita. Where Krishna personally participates in a huge slaughter. Thousands and thousands of men are dying. God is there, blessing it all. How is that possible? When it's love, what is love? Yeah, this was very love. Prabhupada, when devotees asked him this, Prabhupada said, when you have a material body, and it's clear and you are determined to do only nonsense with it, simply increasing your bad karma, so very lovingly God takes it away from you. You don't need kind of human body-like example because you do only nonsense with it. You pile up bad karma. So you get a nice animal body. Animals don't collect karma. They just live out their karma, but they don't collect karma. And then you get the taste to it, you get the power to it, you get the ability to kill, and you will be also eaten. Yeah, this is animal kingdom. You get a perfect body. And therefore people like animals because animals are not hypocrites. You don't see foxes imitating bears and bears imitating cows. No. Everybody has their own body, their own taste, their own place to live, their own food. It's all under perfect order. The only one who is disturbing is the humans. Because humans, they don't understand the meaning of the human form. There's a particular meaning to it. Regarding eating, sleeping, mating, defending, quite limited, isn't it? You want to eat and get a body of a cow. You can eat even while you are sleeping. Chewing always. You want defense? Well, get a body of a snake. Everybody goes away. I can make say once, but yeah. But in the body of a snake, that's dangerous. Sex life? Are you joking? Every gorilla, every monkey, and every pigeon is better, my gosh. So obviously it's not the real essence. But we have something animals don't have. We can ask questions, we can think about this, and we can cultivate higher knowledge. And that's Krishna consciousness. That's what this whole thing is about. We can learn how to see Krishna everywhere. Animals don't, they have even very amazing ability. I could tell you examples from animal kingdom, you will be amazed. But this is all coming from the super soul. This is all because super soul, Prabhupada said, look how merciful Krishna is. As a super soul, he will live with you even when you have a body of a pig. Dirt. You live there and you eat stool. And Krishna is still with you in the heart like Super Soul, observing Anumanta and Upadrashta giving permission. That's amazing. Krishna never leaves us, but we don't know that. We forgot Krishna. We left Krishna actually. He never leaves us. He's always with us. To learn how to see that is very, very useful. Why? We don't get surprised and we don't get confused. Not even blade of grass can move without Krishna's permission. When you know that, well, then what? Maybe somebody will ring now the bell. I want to also come in. Manchita goes out and there's a little green man there, big like this. You know, his big eyes, maybe antennae on the head. And he goes, I also want to come to the lecture. No problem. I am not surprised if there would be a little green man sitting here. Why not? That's an extreme example, but anything is possible. Anything. You know, when you go on Sankirtan, anything can happen. You know, you meet a man, looks horrible, and he goes, and you go, you want a book? Can you read? But you want a book. So you give him a book and he goes, and he gives you a donation. You go, okay. And then you meet a man who goes, in my opinion, I believe, I'm more like an intellectual person. This is just a sect with some belief. I am not so interested. So who is the idiot there? You see, in Krishna consciousness, we see things differently. Yeah? I met very devotional dogs on Sankirtan. I showed the book to the dog and the dog was, I told the owner, your dog likes the book, you have to buy the book. He was laughing, he said, but he's not reading. I said, but he likes it. You are reading. So you can read the book to the dog. I mean, it sounds crazy, isn't it? But I distribute books sometimes like this too, you know. It's like street on Sankirtan, anything can happen. Anything. You are not surprised by anything. I had a policeman coming to me, stop! You know, you have identification? But he was a young policeman, not very long and on duty. I told him, do you have an identification? And he was going, I don't need any identification, I'm police! I said, how do I know? I mean, in Germany, nobody will deal like this with police, you know. When police comes, everybody, I didn't do anything. No, I just really looked at him. I was tired. I want to distribute my book, damn it. So I told him, how do I know you are a policeman? I mean, I got him so intimidated, he pulled his ID card and he said, you see, this is German police. You know, I took his ID card, I said, the photo here, that's you? But you don't look like this. He said, this is me! And I said, I don't believe it. Where did you get this? And the man was shocked. He was completely. He said, there is a stamp here, Deutsche Polizei. I told him, hey, listen. If I cut a potato in two and carve something inside, make a stamp out of it, I can stamp anything I want. How do I know this is real? Then he looked at me and said, I have a gun. You know, I told him, this is a gun? Looks like water pistol. Is it plastic or what is it? I mean, I got the man so confused. He said, okay, you stay here. I have a colleague sitting in a car around the corner. He will come and confirm that I'm police. I said, yeah, sure, no problem. So he went around the corner, I was gone, collected all the Sankirtan party, and we left for another town. In Germany, it's easy. The towns are very close to each other. So, I remember that. I was younger. I was a little bit, yeah. This is all perfectly arranged by Krishna. As a devotee, no. Why should we be shocked? Why should we be surprised? Nothing can happen without Krishna's permission. Now, of course, we have to make a judgment. Yes. Therefore, we have a spiritual master. Because sometimes we shouldn't make our judgment. Sometimes we think, is it Krishna or Maya? What is here? What Krishna wants me to do? This is what Guru should do. He should actually go, no. You have to understand this is all arranged by Krishna. Either you can improve the situation or you cannot improve the situation. There were many situations Prabhupada encountered, he couldn't change either. So he took it as Krishna's mercy, okay? Well, I cannot change it, so? But there is always a way to go, Krishna can show. If you cannot do like this, then do like that. There's always a way to go. When you want to be engaged in devotional service and Krishna service, nothing can stop you. No way. You always find a way how to serve Krishna. Why should Krishna stop you to serve him? Huh? So, he will always show, like this, like that. In a long term, one learns to actually understand, Krishna just wants me to be detached. And he is saying in the Bhagavad Gita, don't be even attached to the regular performance of your duties. It can change. Krishna Kshetra Swami has a good saying for this. He said, we are not the International Society for Rules and Regulations. Actually. There are rules and regulations, of course, but in themselves, they are useless. They serve a purpose. There's a purpose behind the rules and regulations. If you don't understand the purpose, you are just this is called Smarta Brahmin, this is called Kanishta Adhikari. They are sometimes very rigid followers of the rules, but they don't understand the purpose behind the whole thing. So everything what we do is to please Krishna. In our case, preaching. Sometimes while preaching, you have to make so much compromise. One devotee, Prabhupada was sending devotees to the most crazy places. I remember Hare Krishna telling me this. First time they went to the east, they found out there is nothing to eat here. In the shops, just meat, And then they're going, oh, there's some bread. They found out they make even the bread out of beer. And he asked Prabhupada, when we go preaching to these countries, what shall we eat? They eat only meat. Prabhupada said, if there is nothing to eat, then eat meat. He was shocked. He said, but Prabhupada, you said whoever eats meat goes to hell. Prabhupada said, yes, you will go to hell, but before that you will preach. Of course, it never happened, really. But I remember them going, preaching, having these packages with oats and, and this, just to survive. Then I found out it's very popular in the eastern countries to have a little plots, dacha. And it's like a little cottages with little plots where people grow their own food. It's very popular in a communistic days. Everybody had something like that. So they were invading the plot, stealing the strawberries and stealing this just to survive. So Prabhupada said for preachers, there are much less rules. And then he looked at one prominent preacher and he said, but don't take advantage. That means don't think that in the name of preaching you can do anything. And as a preacher, he found himself in the most bizarre situations. You know how the first preachers came to Eastern countries? Yeah? As yoga teachers. Communists didn't mind yoga teachers because they were thinking yoga is to improve the health of the working people. So devotees came as yoga teachers. And they were thinking they will teach people, some postures, some exercise. There's a picture of Hare Krishna and Alanath, later on Paramdvaita Swami. Anyway, Alanath sitting in an exercising hall, They had these big exercising halls full of these gumi madrasas and this. And they sit there. I saw the photo. And Hare Krishna sits on a floor. Actually, what is it? No, Hare Krishna sits on a floor with cardles and Alanath does Mridanga. And next to them is a big pot with popcorn. That was the prasadam. And they are surrounded in a circle by at least 60 little bit fat ladies, in this exercise outfits, And they are all in that ring, of these fatty ladies, and they are kind of dancing around them. It's like the asanas, you teach people. This is good for health. Go like this, and they go, okay, And then we will chant a mantra to it. Mantra is good. That's good for the mind and all this. So you go, Hare Krishna. And then they go, Hare Krishna. This was the beginning of the preaching. And then they got these ladies dancing around them like this in circle. And you see, Hare Krishna has the closed eyes like this. And Alanath is standing there with Vedanga. At a certain point, Hare Krishna opened one eye. He said, Alanath, it's like hell here. That's how preaching started, actually. And actually, people realized there's something more to it. It's not just this and that. Hey, tell us the real thing. They knew that there are KGB agents in the public. They will listen. So they were very careful. But they couldn't stop at the end. They just had to come out and say, this is about Krishna and like this. So, so this is, for preachers, yeah, there are exceptions. What can you do? And we had also victimized preachers. I can give you many examples for that, unfortunately. Finland, 2 brahmacharis go to preach. Only 1 brahmachari comes back. The other one, he has to save this particular soul in a female body. Such a unique soul. He has to save her. The other brahmachari goes, Prabhu, you are crazy! Wake up! It's a woman. No, he was already gone. So he stayed in Finland, got married. Actually, he got married, yeah. Only to divorce later on, but that's another story. I have stories for everything. But, this can happen to preacher too, of course. Of course. I remember one of my godbrothers going, what do they want, these women? Look, I'm ugly. I have a big ears. No hair. And still they are coming. Then he pointed to another godbrother who was actually had a very beautiful preacher. I said, I understand why he is in trouble. But why me? Look, I have a big ears. I'm ugly. No. That's we saw even in a punk movement, the most ugly, stinky, disgusting punk. He always had a girlfriend. She was thinking, what a beautiful, stinky, ugly punk. They were saying in Germany, for every pot you find a lid. It's just, and that's all Krishna's energy. It's amazing, isn't it? You think, how can somebody fall in love with this? Like personally, until today, I don't understand why women are falling in love with men at all. I don't find men being very beautiful. For me, men are more or less differently shaped digging machines or something like this. Come on, there's hair growing everywhere. But the women think, oh, this is nice, this is nice. I understand why men find women beautiful. Definitely. There's beauty in form, in sound, smell, very dangerous. It's all exactly composed. And as one of my godbrothers told me, a woman can kill you with one glance. Power. You cannot. One glance. Boom. Finished. Amazing. It's a mystic power. That's also Krishna. Everything is Krishna. The illusion, everything. And when you start to see it more and more, then you become more Krishna conscious. And you focus more on Krishna, not on the external exhibition of his energies. You can be impressed. Wow, look at this. How beautiful, actually. Yes. How stupid? Yeah. How powerful? Wow. You can see it. But it's all temporarily manifested. Prabhupada said, I never said this world is actually illusion. It's useless. It's illusion, right? No, Prabhupada said, actually, I didn't say that. I said the attempt to enjoy it forever, that's illusion. Otherwise, it's real. Prabhupada said, shall I hit you on the head? That's a real pain, isn't it? And you go, ow. Come on, it's illusion. Why are you going, ow? Because it's illusion. No. But the identification, the attachment, and the idea that we have to enjoy it forever is illusory. Even our performance, particular performance as we see here and now, of our devotional service is also not forever. The service can even change. The locality can even change. I was in so many localities. I had a different kind of service. They called me Sankirtan leader. Well, that was not forever. They call me temple president. That's not forever. And if somebody tells me a devotee, I go, oh, that sounds better. Yeah. That's all. So the forms of devotional service it may even change. But devotional service, that doesn't change. The identity of a devotee, that doesn't change. We are eternal servants of Krishna. That's all. And nobody can take this away from us. Nobody can change it. I have pity upon people who derive their spiritual identity from institutional identity or whatever. Yes, we have designations. We are running an institution, okay? But this is not forever. This can change. But our service to Krishna should not change. Should be always remember Krishna, never forget him. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam. That's it. And that you can do anywhere, under any circumstances. But when we come together in a frame of congregation, society, in an organized fashion, then it gets better. And we are helping each other more, remembering Krishna, serving Krishna. This is the reason why Prabhupada started this society. Otherwise, before that, there was no societies. People were, practicing spiritual life very locally, actually. Very locally. Every village had a guru, And there was no official society. No. That's actually Vedic culture is very local. You know, no, there was no internet. There was no big news from the world. No, you practice locally. And you knew where to go. There is Guru, and he will help me to remember Krishna. That's all. Simple. And that's essentially the structure we are working upon. So we should not be impressed by international issues or some big issues. We should actually be satisfied what's going on right away around us and make the best out of it. There's some questions or points to this? Comments?
Thank you very much for wonderful class. Prabhupada said we should chant.
Huh?
We should chant Hare Krishna with the mood of baby crying for the mother. Can you explain what it means to cry for Krishna?
Crying for Krishna. Well, if you understand the power of material energy, you will do it automatically. You don't have to plan for that. What happens when you sit down on a nail? You will cry. What happens if somebody pinch you in the back? You will go, ah! So Prabhupada said the nature of this material nature is pinching, all the time pinching us. Adi bhutik, adi devik, adi atmik. Miseries from other living entities, miseries from our own body, and miseries from supernatural powers. All the time, punk, 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 punk. So we have a good reason to cry out for Krishna, all the time. That's what devotees do. That's what we are doing. There's no harm to admit that we are helpless. There's no harm to admit we are totally dependent on Krishna's mercy. I think it was Rupa Goswami, he said that. I am chanting Hare Krishna, surviving minute by minute like that. Total dependency. So usually, problem arises when we think, no, it's all fine here. Material nature is okay. Then we become negligent, we become lazy, we lose our awareness. So usually for devotees, Krishna doesn't give much comfort. He doesn't give us that. There is always some reason to surrender to Him and pray for His shelter. And you get used to it. You wake up in the morning, you go, okay, help Krishna, help. You may not know it, you are still very young. But there is a certain time in your life as a devotee, you will just cry out helplessly and hope for help just to get up. I had very, very respectful godbrothers. They remembered, as we were young brahmacharis, how we worked. One of them, he told me, isn't it amazing? As a brahmachari, it's a question of training. You work like a clock. For years, I didn't need any alarm clock whatsoever. I knew. I just said, I want to wake up 3 o'clock. I did wake up 3 o'clock. I was going bang. In no time I was in the shower. Bang. It was actually so in the morning. It was boom. That also created problems. All brahmacharis are rushing. Mangalatak, shower. Later on as manager, I was dealing with these problems. He said, I will not make any more handles on the doors for the shower because you rip them all out. Constantly destroyed handles. Sometimes they ripped out the whole door. Like robots. Prabhupada said actually, brahmachari life is like that. He said, you get up, and he used the word execute. Execute. Boom. He said, that's brahmacharya. So nostalgically, I remember one godbrother in Italy, he told me, do you remember the times we worked like clocks? Now, you get up, you are up. You can chant, but how to move? Oh, that requires strategic planning, Okay, so now I will sit, you know. You go, Krishna, I want to walk. You go, and you look for some subjects to support yourself, some solid piece of things, so you can hold on and move on. Well, you don't have that problem. Young people have no idea what I'm talking about. Don't worry, it may come. And that is even more inspiring to pray. Krishna, I want to walk, please. So there is plenty of reasons to depend on Krishna. All the time. And finally we will all face the moment where you are completely helpless. Still aware, but you cannot move at all. You cannot do anything at all. You are just waiting until you stop breathing. We cannot even imagine that. We never had that kind of... I had few experiences close to death. It's an interesting experience. It makes you aware how we can be switched off. I just met a really nice preaching-oriented godbrother. He said, oh, you are still here. Great. Let's wait until we are switched off. He sees it like that. Sometimes there is no even warning. Usually there is some warning, some diseases and the body starts to fall apart. But sometimes it's just... I had one godbrother, he gave a lecture in the morning and in the evening he was dead. No more lecture. Govinda Maharaj. Nobody expected that. But what a amazing departure. He just gave a lecture, Hare Krishna, and then out. Amazing, it's very glorious. So, no trauma, no tubes, no hospital. But we don't know. It's up to Krishna again. But we will be switched off. All of us. That's for sure. So we should use the time as you are doing. I'm just talking, you are doing. Devotees are always, I know this, I enjoy to talk devotees, I enjoy to see devotees, but very often they have no time. There was this nervous thing. Nice talk, Prabhu. Good. Sometimes they feel obliged to talk to me, and I have to think, he's nervous. He wants to go to the toilet or whatever, huh? People get nervous, when they want to go to the toilet. No, he has something to do, but he likes to talk with me and he feels obliged. So I always tell them, don't be obliged. Switch me off. Just switch me off. Tell me, sorry Prabhu, I'm going. And they say, but this is not polite. I said, who cares? I don't know what your timing is. Just switch me off. As simple as that. And I have devotees who I train them already. They know that. So as they go, Hare Krishna, very nice talk. It's over now. I have no time. Bye-bye. And I go, very good. Okay, wish you good luck. And we all go, in different directions. Completely fine with me. People, like that. So, I had even one godbrother who told me, I am really disturbed by having devotees always having this nervous sync with the eye, just no time, no time. I told him, really? I'm not disturbed. We are all under pressure, under devotional pressure. The same godbrother came to visit me in Stockholm, in my temple. By that time, I had a restaurant with 500, 600 people a day coming. I had 22 devotees just working in a restaurant. Restaurant is opening 11 o'clock, you know that? It doesn't matter if somebody dies or not. We are opening anyway. That's restaurant. It's a machine. Cooks, vegetable cutters, yeah? I remember he came and he was going, Hare Krishna, Hare Bol, Hare Bol. And nobody had time. They were pushing him aside. Sorry, blah, blah, blah. And he was standing there like a piece of furniture, And then and he came in the office. He said, it's completely mad here. It's every day like this. And I told him, I am here since 10 years. Every day is like this. It's crazy, I know. But that's my life. I could tell you endless stories just from that place. We had, I remember, in the middle of the craziness, it cooled a little bit down. I was going, okay, so less people, everything's fine. People sit in a restaurant, in a temple room. We had a big temple room, like this size. And there's a program going on, nice. So I was a manager, I sit in the office, and then I hear this on the door. Now I had like around 45 devotees in the temple. I already knew who is knocking before the door was open, because people knock differently. I knew this is a Mataji knocking. I was going, come in. She came in and she was completely cool. She was from Bosnia. She said, there is a dead devotee on the toilet. I was going, oh really? Well, we didn't have that one yet. Is he dead? Yeah, he's dead. So my thought was immediately, how do you get a dead devotee out of the public toilet between the tables where people are eating? How do you get that body out? So I went in the toilet and it was a very troubled devotee. He was not bad, but he was heroin, He was still. So he just overdosed. There was still the syringe lying there. And I just tested the pulse, finished. So I called the ambulance. He said, we have a dead man in the toilet. And they came, bang, 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 bang. And I said, please, if you take him out, the guests should not be disturbed. They said, no problem. We are professional. We know how to do that. Don't worry. So they put him on a stretcher, tie him up, and they lifted up the stretcher so it looks like he is sitting. And then they drove between the tables, People are going, oh, poor guy, he fainted or something like that. No, he was dead. And then they drove him out, put him in an ambulance and drove him away. All devotees were like, wow, they knew him. And the only one who was really disturbed was this Mataji. I said, Mataji, you come from Bosnia, huh? She said, yes. From the Yugoslavian war. For her, she said, I saw so many dead bodies. All I did as a small girl. This is not a dead body, She was completely cool. This is just one story from a restaurant, I had so many stories to tell. Unbelievable. Just from that place. It was crazy every day. But you have to have a little bit nature for that. And things get chaotic and crazy. I get inspired. Okay, something to do here. When things are peaceful. You will never see me sitting on Govardhan, going Hare Krishna, Radhe Krishna. I go, yeah, that's nice, but to do something. I'm not the Bhajanandi type, not at all. But it's a nature. There are some devotees who can do that. I cannot do that. I just look for action, boom. Today I will drive today from here to Czech Republic. That's like 600 kilometers or something like that. Last time I drove from Rijeka, they called me, where are you? I said, in Prague. They said, well, this is almost 900 kilometers. I said, yeah, I like this, new place. I should not do that. I'm supposed to be an old man, right? Sit somewhere going, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Oh, I feel Krishna inside. It's all Krishna's here. Nah. Maybe later, not now. But this is my nature. Not everybody is like that. So this is like, yeah. Prabhupada didn't like the Bhajanandi class. Prabhupada was on the move all the time. All the time. With his body. 2 heart attacks. In his age. All the time. Moving. Prabhupada said, I transmitted that curse of not being able to sit down to my disciples. I got cursed by the parents of my devotees, like Prajapati Daksha cursed Narada Muni. You will never have a place to sit down. Prabhupada said, I accepted the curse gladly, but I also transmitted it to my disciples. They will also not sit down. They have to move on. Preaching, ki jai. That's all. Bliss. I was in ecstasy when I heard that. So, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.